Hello and welcome. You're watching WION World is One with me, Ananya Datta, and this is WION Speed News. Let's get started. A day after twin bombings and the worst election-related violence ever, Pakistanis braved the threat of violence to vote for a new parliament. People were seen carefully marking their ballots, waiting outside polling stations in the capital of Islamabad. Pakistan's caretaker Information Minister Murtaza Solanki cast his ballot in Lahore and requested others to vote before the polls closed. More than 17,000 candidates are contesting in the polls, in which voters will elect 266 candidates to the Pakistan National Assembly. One security personnel killed in attack on security forces vehicles in Dera Ismail Khan. According to sources, assailants made an attempt to attack the vehicle which was on duty. The attack was reported just hours after the polls opened. On Wednesday, Pakistan witnessed multiple terror attacks in Balochistan and Sindh province, including a blast in financial capital of Karachi. At least 28 were killed and more than 40 people left injured. Under the cloud of terror, Pakistan has suspended mobile phone services nationwide as polls get underway for national elections. The Interior Ministry said that this was done to maintain law and order. A spokesperson from the ministry said that precious lives have been lost in the past and this measure was taken to deal with potential threats. The PTI of former Prime Minister Imran Khan has lashed out on the move, calling it outrageous pre-poll rigging. The inaugural European Union-India Track 1.5 dialogue is to be held in New Delhi on Friday. This roundtable will focus on countering the utilization of unmanned aerial systems of extremists and non-state actors. Representatives from the EU and India will delve into understanding the spectrum of current and emerging threats associated with consumer-grade UAS technology. Topics of discussion will include regulatory frameworks, tactical strategies, and investigative measures to combat UAS threats effectively. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declined a Gaza war truce proposal from Hamas. Netanyahu said that achieving victory was close at hand and that only a complete defeat of Hamas could ensure Israel's security. Benjamin Netanyahu also stated that there is no solution other than achieving complete victory. He also said that another massacre is inevitable if Hamas maintains control of Gaza. The United States military says it has killed a Kataib Hezbollah commander who was allegedly responsible for attacks on American troops in Iraq. The strike was carried out in response to the killing of US troops just last week. The US military clarified that there were no reports of civilian casualties. According to anonymous security sources, the commander, identified as Abu Bakr al-Sadi, was killed in a drone strike on a vehicle in eastern Baghdad. The strike reportedly caused 3 deaths and targeted a vehicle associated with Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces. In the United States Senate, Republicans have blocked a major border bipartisan deal bill to strengthen border security. However, it has indicated that it might approve aid for Ukraine and Israel, which had been part of the deal. The $118 billion package was aimed at tightening immigration laws and supporting Ukraine against Russian aggression. The deal fell short of the necessary votes, with a 49-50 vote largely split along party lines. The package was rejected by most Republicans, partly influenced by former President Donald Trump's opposition. The Senate is expected to vote on a $96 billion package that removes the immigration component but retains the foreign aid provisions. Hazardous material crews are working to clean up hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel after a train derailment in Loveland, Colorado. According to the Fire Rescue Authority, they were notified in the wee hours of Wednesday of a train derailment on the Great Western Railway line. The agency says a locomotive derailed and punctured a fuel tank. Officials say the fuel was contained and did not get into any waterways. Great Western Railway is working to clean up the fuel and get the locomotive back on the tracks. United States authorities have located the missing military helicopter that was carrying 5 Marines in South California. However, the search continues for 5 Marines who were on board the CH-53E Super Stallion. The CH-53E Super Stallion helicopter was reported overdue to Marine Corps' air station on Tuesday night. It left from the Creech Air Force Base near Las Vegas and was heading towards Marine Corps Air Station in San Diego. An alleged Russian spy lied to gain asylum in the United Kingdom before working for the country's spy agencies with access to intelligence secrets. The refugee from Afghanistan is accused of spying for Russia's military intelligence agency GRU. He worked for the GCHQ and MI6, which is the UK's Foreign Intelligence Services. Britain's Prince William has resumed his royal duties, marking his first official appearance since his father, King Charles III, revealed his cancer diagnosis and his wife, Kate, underwent abdominal surgery. Addressing the public about his family's health challenges for the first time, the Prince of Wales expressed gratitude for the supportive messages during a charity gala dinner. Earlier in the day, he performed an investiture ceremony at Windsor Castle. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister James Marape has said that his country's economic growth would enhance Australia's security. He emphasized a strong bond between the two neighbouring nations during an address to Australia's Parliament. Marape's speech to the National Parliament in Canberra is the first by a leader from Papua New Guinea. It comes at a time when Australia competes with China for influence and security ties in the region. Marape stressed the importance of Papua New Guinea achieving economic self-sustainability. Australia plays a significant role as its largest aid donor. North Korea has decided to nullify all agreements related to economic cooperation with South Korea. Reports say North Korea's Supreme People's Assembly, responsible for formalizing policies under the ruling Workers' Party, also voted to revoke laws governing economic relations with Seoul. This included a special law governing the Mount Kumgang tourism project. This project attracted nearly 2 million South Korean tourists and symbolized economic collaborations between the two Koreas. It was halted in 2008 following the death of a South Korean visitor who entered a restricted area and was shot dead by North Korean guards. Ecuador has passed a trade agreement with China that enables numerous residents' products to access the Asian market without tariffs. With a majority of 76 votes out of 137, the Assembly ratified the free trade agreement signed in May of 2023. An indigenous legislator from the Citizen Revolution movement criticized the bill, arguing that it would exacerbate a crisis due to unequal competition. The Minister of Production countered, saying that the agreement has potential to create about 50,000 jobs, introduce new products to the Chinese market, and eliminate tariffs. Ecuador's top court has decriminalized euthanasia. Lawmakers and health officials have been asked to draft regulations for the procedure. The process refers to deliberately ending someone's life, usually to relieve them from suffering. Ecuador's decision comes in response to a lawsuit from a terminally ill woman who had argued that she should be allowed to have death with dignity. The woman was diagnosed with a lateral sclerosis, commonly known as ALS. In its ruling, the court recognized the right of people to make free and informed decisions. Ghana's vice president says that he is ready to take leadership of the country. He laid out plans to rejuvenate the economy, combat corruption, and stimulate the private sector if elected president in December. Having secured the presidential candidacy of the ruling New Patriotic Party in November, the 60-year-old economist is set to compete against former President John Mahama. Addressing a crowd of supporters at the University of Professional Studies in Accra, he criticized Mahama's economic track record, blaming him for the present government's economic challenges. Thousands of people on foot, on motorcycles or in cars are moving from the towns and villages around Goma to take refuge in the city as fighting between the Congolese army and the M23 rebels intensifies. Goma is the biggest town in the area and has a large Congolese army presence. Analysts say that the Congolese president, who was re-elected in December, was struggling to end the violence despite promises to do so. The president accuses Rwanda of providing military support to the M23 rebels, claim supported by the United Nations experts, but which Kigali denies. At least 5 agents of Haiti's BSAP were killed in a shootout with national police in Port-au-Prince. The armed environmental agency has been involved in recent years into a paramilitary body. The clash follows days of protests across the country. The current unelected Prime Minister had promised to step down from his position by the 7th of February. For the first time on record, the Earth has endured 12 months of temperatures that have crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius rise benchmark. Europe's climate monitor, C3S, has said that from February of 2023 to January of 2024, the world saw warming of 1.52 degrees Celsius above the 19th century benchmark. But scientists have stressed that this does not indicate a permanent breach of the key Paris deal threshold. Australia experienced its 8th warmest year in 2023 due to the influence of climate change. This is as per the Australia Weather Bureau. Average temperatures have been pushed up almost 1 degree Celsius above the 1961-1990 average. Forecasters warn that climate change will make Australia hotter and increase the severity of weather extremes. Mexico's Natural Areas Watchdog has nearly 60% decline in the population of monarch butterflies. Now, these butterflies arrived in Mexico's forests to hibernate during the 23-24 winter season. This decrease, according to experts, stems from elevated temperatures and droughts in the butterflies' breeding grounds in Canada and the United States. This results in a decreased availability of milkweed that is essential for egg-laying and larvae nourishment. Experts also highlighted the detrimental impact of herbicides and pesticides along with migratory route. This further degrades their breeding habitats and compromises their health. Climate change is accelerating the demise of the Aral Sea in Central Asia. Reports say that the sea that was once one of the world's largest inland bodies of water and the lifeblood for the thousands living around it is showing signs of drying up. For decades, the sea was fed by rivers relying heavily on glacial melt and intersecting the landlocked countries of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. But today, the Aral Sea has shrunk to less than a quarter of its former size. In the northern mountain villages of Spain, brown bears, once on the brink of extinction, have become a frequent sight. In response, the regional government of Castilla and Leon has established a patrol for locals to report bear sightings. Comprising 9 rangers, this patrol operates in areas like the mining town of Villablino in the province of Valencia, safeguarding residents and their crops. The initiative aims to ensure the well-being of the endangered Iberian brown bears while fostering peaceful coexistence between humans and wildlife. Restaurants and stores in Manila in the Philippines are adorned with vibrant lights and ornate decorations ahead of the Lunar New Year celebrations on Saturday. For the New Year of the Dragon, lampposts were adorned with dragon-themed decorations, adding to the festive atmosphere of the district. The historic commercial district along the riverside in Manila is revered as one of the oldest Chinatowns globally. This despite grappling with the aftermath of the pandemic and uncertainties that have emerged. That is 102-year-old Jack Hemmings, a former Royal Air Force pilot, believes that he is now the oldest person to pilot a Spitfire. Hemmings took to the skies in the World War II plane to raise money for Mission Aviation Fellowship, a humanitarian air service. It's not the first time he's flown a war plane. He joined the RAF at 19 and was stationed in India during the Second World War, flying Lockheed Hudsons against Japanese forces. But this was the first time he sampled a Spitfire. Elizabeth Kelly, formerly an economic policy advisor to U.S. President Joe Biden, has been named as director of the newly formed U.S. Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute. Kelly had played an integral role in drafting the AI executive order. The U.S. Artificial Intelligence Safety Institute aims to regularize and safeguard AI technologies. By July, the institute aims to create a quote-unquote red team that will test standards for major AI developers to ensure that the systems are safe for consumers and businesses. The U.S. government recently began requiring AI companies to test their systems. But so far, those tests lack the universal set of standards that the institute plans to finalize this summer. Government hackers used 3 undiscovered flaws in Apple's iPhone operating system to target users. This is as per a report published by Google's Threat Analysis Group in 2023. Hackers who worked for the government exploited 3 iPhone vulnerabilities known as 0 days. Apple was not aware of these flaws. The hacking tools used in the attack were developed by Variston, a startup that specializes in surveillance and hacking technology. The report further suggests that threat actors sent a malicious link via SMS text message to infect the target's phone with spyware. In the third quarter of last year, China's Ant Group, a fintech company co-founded by billionaire Jack Ma, saw a 92% drop in net profits, earning just $3.41 million. This significant decline was revealed in Alibaba Group Holdings' earnings report. The regulatory scrutiny intensified as Chinese authorities imposed a hefty fine on Ant Group for violations related to consumer protection and corporate governance. This marked the end of a prolonged regulatory overhaul of the company. Alibaba, with a 33% stake in Ant Group, felt the impact of this fine. A federal judge in Manhattan dismissed a lawsuit against Apple alleging overpayment to CEO Tim Cook and other executives by tens of millions of dollars. The lawsuit, brought by a pension fund affiliated with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, claimed that Apple miscalculated the value of performance-based stock awards. However, the judge found no evidence of wrongdoing by Apple's board of directors and stated that the company had followed securities laws and SEC rules in disclosing its pay methods. Cook's total compensation for 2023 decreased to $63 million, down from around $99 million in the previous 2 years.